metric ton of TV technologies available. To look at the technologies and understand QLED and OLED TVs to give those who don't know kind of a base of knowledge of what these TV technologies are and what they do. So I'll put timestamps and chapters in this video too, so if there's a particular part that you want to see and while you happen to be down there looking for the section of the video, subscribe button and the like button's pretty close if you want to hit one of them. Every pixel bulb that can turn LCD panel have a layer of nanoparticles that reflect either red, green, or blue when you shine light on them. And this helps enhance the colors that a regular LCD panel would normally produce. And since QLED is largely just an improvement and iteration of traditional LCD tech, the LCD panel is always shining light through, so black's represented in some version of dark gray. You won't get those perfect black levels and contrast that you'll get with an OLED TV, which I'll talk plenty more about. However, the upside to LCD panels is that you get a ton of brightness out of those sets. A ton of brands offer OLED TVs. We're talking Sony, Samsung, LG, and more. And they're also the evolution of OLED tech that you might see, things like WOLED or QD-OLED, which offer brighter overall images and color brightness to existing OLED tech. So there are steps and categories within OLED to consider. QLED has some of those big players that make those panels as well. We're talking Samsung, LG, TCL, and Hisense. But instead of just calling it by the technology's name, most of those brands have their own unique marketing names. So if you see any version of these, it's QLED. So Samsung has Neo QLED, LG has QNED, Hisense is calling it ULED. I think some of the certain TV, some OLED TVs even have got that can almost hang. This is why high response times, so you find that extra clear. But in the last few years, it's become less and less of an issue. More very extreme circumstances, any accurate. On top of that, because of its you have absolutely no part is due to quantum with QLED TVs into OLED sacrificing. And oftentimes those 8K TVs will upscale 4K could be worse from an OLED. This is less of an issue versus the cheaper models, but it still exists of an OLED. Trust me, this video does not do it justice. You have to see one in person to appreciate how amazing of an image they produce, especially with the newer, very much brighter WOLED and the very bright and colorful QD-OLED variations. But back to QLED versus OLED, unless you have both types of TVs sitting side by side, it's probably not likely that the average person is going to see a huge difference.
Whether you're considering buying the LG OLED Evo G3 or the Sony Bravia XR A95L Master Series QD OLED, one thing is clear. Both of these TVs are very much high-class premium as the A95K look. The G3 does not. The input and connectivity opposite of this. And if you're looking for a go ahead and support the channel, you're going to help support the channel. And this was said by many experts at the Value Electronics annual event. So there is a lot to be said about this TV being really good out of the box. But one thing that sticks out to me outside of aid once they start to get to its limits and you look at it is the biggest strength of the LG G3, and you could really get some of the most insane highlights pumping from this TV. And I have to say, it is the brightest OLED TV. Clear, sharp image, the assets, watching or playing low resolution content. There are a number of reasons to want to use the feature, but the A95L, even without reality creation, does a really good job of cleaning up the image, and it almost makes everything that you throw at it seem like native 4K content. And yes, that extends to gaming as well. So let's move on to gaming. Let's talk about gaming, and maybe you've heard that the LG produces the best gaming OLED TVs. And this might have been true a few years ago, but things surely have changed. For whatever reason, once you go into game mode, you are In today's video, we'll be taking a look at the differences between the LG G2 Gallery Series OLED, that is LG's 4K flagship OLED TV for 2022, versus the Sony A95K QD OLED, which is Sony's flagship OLED TV for 2022. Now, the price differences on this TV is quite significant.
QD OLED technology has captured the attention of video enthusiasts since its introduction last year. But even in the year 2023, there is a flaw contributing to more participation. Sony A95L with reference to the BVM H610 master or to PC. Smoothness film can be used to alleviate the mild stutter inherent on rival. Smoothness camera would improve the motion clarity to a number of streaming apps including Crunchyroll and Bravia Core, the latter of which is a unique selling point for Sony TVs since its introduction in 2021. The Sony exclusive app offers streaming at much higher bit rates, and even IMAX enhanced expanded aspect ratio not available on other streaming services for a handful of titles, not to mention newly added Dolby Atmos support. To sum up, the Sony A95L represents an upgrade over last year's Critical Play, bolstered by additional very wide color gamut coverage of above 90% BT 2020, not to mention high color luminance without wide subpixel interference. This contributes to the most impactful HDR presentation we've seen from a consumer OLED television so far. While there remain some TV introduced frame rate controlling specific detection, gradation, and handling has only started shipping in late September, it is significantly more expensive than the LG G3 and the Samsung S25C, which have both enjoyed sizable price drops over the best part of 6 months since launch.
God damn. Brother just hung up on me.
Drogon is the largest of Daenerys' 3 dragons, and thought to be the reincarnation of the most powerful dragon of all time, Balerion the Black Dread himself. However, Daenerys chose to name him Drogon in honor of her deceased husband, Khal Drogo. Upon reaching adulthood, Drogon's wingspan was over 20 feet long, his wing flaps as loud as shots of thunder, his scales harder than iron, and the heat of his flames so intense they could be felt over 30 feet away. Taking after his namesake, Drogon is the fiercest, wildest, and most aggressive of Daenerys' trio of dragons, and she often has trouble reining him in, given his willful temperament. His jet-black scales are slashed with streaks of vivid scarlet red. His horns and wings share the deep ruby color. His eyes as black as coal, deep smoldering pits that could strike fear into the bravest of men's hearts. Truly a terrifying beast, Drogon would prove to be the most powerful dragon of his generation. Drogon is the largest of Daenerys' 3 dragons, and thought to be the reincarnation of the most powerful dragon of all time, Balerion the Black Dread himself. However, Daenerys
Queen Daenerys demands Cersei's unconditional surrender, and the immediate release of Missandei of Narth.
Queen Cersei demands Daenerys' unconditional surrender. If she refuses, Missandei of Narth will die here and now.
Qyburn, you're a rational man.
Or so I flatter myself, my lord.
We have a chance here. Perhaps our last chance to avoid carnage.
Yes.
Help me. I don't want to see the city burn. I don't want to hear the screams of children burning alive.
No, it is not a pleasant sound.
I don't want to hear it. Help me save this city.
My lord, I am only a mouthpiece for our queen.
Kate, we need you! Can't you see that you can't be